Hello, welcome to Clockwise, produced by Netizens ICT. Now, do not forget that on this sanctuary of greatness, we discuss technology, lifestyle, and career. My name is Providence Essien, and I'm your host. Today, we'll be having a very interesting conversation on how to begin a career in data analysis. I have a very interesting guest who is a data analyst, but not just a professional data analyst, but one with evidence and also with result. But as usual, you'll meet my guest after this break. Welcome back. Now, like I said earlier, today we'll be discussing how to begin a career in data analysis. Now, I have a guest who is a data analyst, professional data analyst, one with evidence and also with results. Not just a data analyst that you see on the road, but a data analyst that has a lot of evidence and a lot of results. Now, without further ado, with a resounding virtual round of applause, please let's welcome Mr. Valentine.
Hey, so excited to be here today.
It's been long you actually came around.
Yeah, I just did lucky.
You left us, you ran away.
No. Still around.
All right, now we will be discussing how to begin a career in data analysis. Most people want to actually become data analysts and they don't know where to start from, how to start from. So that conversation, we'll do it here today. And before we actually proceed, I'd like to ask you a very direct question. Is data analysis a profitable career?
Yeah, it is, to be honest, because I always say that businesses are looking for people who can help them make data-driven decisions. Now, you cannot make decisions for your business based on intuition or based on, I feel it should work this way. It doesn't work that way in business. You have to use the data you have, your sales data, any data you have of your business, right? You need to use that to make data-driven decisions, because with data, anything is possible. And like they say, data is the new oil. So, yeah. I
like that. Data is the new oil.
Yeah.
Now, I would like to ask this question also. Now, what are the best certification to actually acquire if you want to begin a career as a data analyst? And how do they affect, let's say, job prospects, for instance, now, and salary potential?
Yeah, awesome. So, first of all, there are a couple of certifications out there, right? But the mistakes most people make when they are starting a career in data analytics or analysis in general is that they first of all go for the tools. You just say, okay, I want to be a data analyst, I want to go and learn that too, I want to learn this too. But you don't understand the fundamentals of data. How does data work? What is data itself? How do they store data? Where is it stored? How can you manipulate data? You need to understand the fundamental. What is the importance of data in businesses, in people's lives, before you then move on to the tools. So for a start, I usually tell people to, first of all, because you still need machine learning at the end of the way. So there's this Google machine learning fundamental course that you can take. So first of all, that teaches you the fundamentals of machine learning, statistics, because data analysis is very broad. All those your main media mode that you ran away from, you come back to it. Your histogram, your bar charts, your pie charts. You need all those things to make visualization. You need a lot of statistics. Like you need to be statistics heavy. So I just recommend that Google machine learning crash course first of all. And then there's this very insightful one that is on Coursera. It's the Google Data Analytics certificate. It's like about 7 to 8 courses, and it teaches the fundamentals of data, how it works, how data can be biased, because data can be biased. Let me give you a very good example. Let's say when there's a class of students and made up of boys and girls, maybe like 40 students, and they want to know what is the best meal to be served in the afternoon for them. And let's say that day there were like just 10 people in the class. Right, and they come to take a survey, like people should write down what meals they would like to be served in the afternoon. People pick beans, people pick rice, people pick spaghetti, and then they find out who are the people that pick the more. Like, so let's say out of the 10 people, like 6 people picked spaghetti, right, and maybe remain 2 pick beans, 2 pick rice, and then they now come the next week and be like, okay, based on our research, we discovered that whole class likes spaghetti. That's 10 out of 40. That's not enough training size for you to know the people that would like the spaghetti. So 10 out of 40 is very low. So data can also be biased. So yeah. So that's an example. That's
now I'd like to also know which tool should I say is also software that are high in demand for data analysts, and how can a beginner gain proficiency with them?
Okay, fantastic. So for you to of course start
those tools, those software.
Yeah, you need to know one programming language. It's very, very important. I know most people say that, oh,
must it be Python?
Yes, it has to be. No, there are other tools, right? There's R too. R is similar, it's more of Google, but I usually recommend Python because, like I say, Python is very versatile. Use it for so many things. Data analysis. If you want transition to machine learning, you can do that. If you want to do quality assurance and testing, right, you can do that. If you want to do web scraping, you can do that with Python. So I just wanted to talk about one funny time when I discovered web scraping. Basically, web scraping is scraping things from the internet without having to follow the whole due process.
You can use Python to do that.
Yes, you can use Python. So I had this set of pictures. I used to download pictures from a specific site, and they now started putting watermarks.
Okay.
So if you have to pay to get the original copy. And I discovered web scraping that you can easily scrape stuff from the internet, and there's a way that you can bypass. Don't try it. It's not legal. It's not a legal thing to do. But what I did was that I wrote the code to the point that it was able to bypass the watermark, so you could download the images. So let's say I'm looking for 100 images of cars, right? Okay, for example, I was working on a project that we were helping to detect drowsiness. I have spoken about in the last podcast that we're detecting drowsiness, how if someone is drowsy, right? So we needed images of people that drowse, people that are yawning, stuff like that. So most of the time we are seeing watermarks, you have to pay to listen. So I just wrote a code and I was able to download like 1,000 plus clear HD images of it, and I didn't have to like pay for it. Don't try this out, please. That was like a very interesting part of it. That's why I usually tell people to like learn Python. There are other tools, like the other programming language, but Python is like a very fundamental tool you need to know. And then data analytics, people visuals, right? You need to have visualization because your managers, the stakeholders don't have time to look at a Google sheet or an Excel sheet. For example, they say analyze data, and you come to the presentation and you just say, hey, this 1,000 rows of of data. What would they do with that? They don't have time. That's why they hire you to analyze data. So if you use visualization tools, like when they come, they now say, okay, chart. They say, okay, wow, we made more profit in February, made less profit in September. So we now be like, how can we, for example, if it's a production company, how can we increase production in February so we make more money, and then we decrease production in those months that are making less sales? So all those visuals make it easy. So visualization tools like Power BI, Tableau, there's Alteryx.
But can someone choose between Tableau and Power BI and just know one?
Yes, but the thing is demand. For example, in Africa, right, Tableau is very, or rather, Power BI, is very, very popular. But abroad, most white companies tend to use Tableau because Google is like very recognized in so many ways. So most people use Tableau. So to be honest, that's why I say ideally you need to understand how data works. If you understand how data works, right, you will not have a problem learning the tools because you already understand, okay, this is there are different types of data. They have quantitative data, they have qualitative data. So you know what to use to visualize quantitative data, you know what to visualize qualitative data. So you need to know you need to understand how data works before you move to the visual. So Power BI, Tableau, Alteryx, Spotfire, there are so many. Even they have.
What of Excel? Have you abandoned Excel?
No, yes. So the thing is that Excel is still very important, right? You can use it to visualize data. For example, when I started in my career in data analysis, right, I joined a company a couple of months, and basically they wanted me to visualize the data of the community members. Want to know what is the distribution between the male to female, what are the career paths that they have, right? So I was thinking that, I need to go and learn, I need to go and pick up Power BI, all those big tools, big boy tools. But the thing is that if I understand data work, so what I did was that I realized that we didn't have so many members. We had like 200 plus. And the data could fit into an Excel sheet. So I just use my Excel, build the visual, exported into presentation, and boom, that works. So Excel is still very important tool, but there are limitations to Excel for the fact that it has a limited number of rows.
Okay.
Let's say you're doing data with millions of people. For example, now let's say the data of people that are using MTN in the whole of Southwest. You can't fit in an Excel sheet. Millions. So you need to start moving to things like SQL. That's SQL. You need to know how to navigate those databases, how to extract data
that you want.
Yes. So for example, if you're looking for people that let's say men that fall below or less than people that men that are less than 40 that are using MTN. Yeah, you cannot say select name from this specific data where age is less than 40 and boom, it will just bring out the data you want. Query it. So that's it. So Excel is still very important. It can be used in so many ways, but there are some limitations when it comes to the size of data needed.
Okay, now should I say what are the highest paying roles in data analysis? Like what are the highest paying roles?
Okay.
And what qualification do they actually require?
Okay, so basically, right, you need to get certifications. But the thing is that
are the highest paying roles?
Yeah, there are very good paying roles in data analysis. Like I said, data is a new oil, but it's a very, very sensitive role. That's why they will pay you very well. But you know how Nigeria is, right? You want to like they want to save costs. Yeah, that's the best one to use. They want to save costs, so they won't want to pay you. But abroad or white companies, they will pay you to work with their data. I give an example before of somebody that was supposed to work with sales data of an FMCG. They were producing drinks, right, soft drinks, and the person was not very meticulous. It was just want to get down, right? It's not, because data is as little as one figure is very important in your sales data set. So what happened when he was analyzing the data, he deleted 2 zeros. Now from the month that they made the most profit, and then the month that they made the least profit became the month they made the most profit. So when they made the visualization, yes, the manager said, okay, that means you are making more money in September, right? Or rather, we are making more money. Basically, it's soft drinks, so you know that the festive period, you make more money. So let's say it was around like, they say like February, March, that they were making more money. And then that's December, they reduced production. So now when it was December, where demand, people they drink, people want to take this stuff, it's not available. So that was what it actually affected their annual revenue for that year. Wow. And of course, got sacked. So there's nothing.
Now, there's always a problem between what a data analyst is, and data scientist. Or data analyst is and what a data scientist is. Now, what's the difference between a data analyst and a data scientist? Now, and also, how should one decide which of the paths to pursue?
Okay. So first of all, it's based on you need to know your strengths and weaknesses. Like you need to know how you succeed. Because Femi is very good at visual. Doesn't mean that you might not be good at visual. For example, me, the reason why I like visualization from the start is that I don't really like colors. My favorite color, I like dull colors. So imagine me presenting a visual and everything is dull, black, grey. It's attractive to me, but people would like to see that kind of stuff. So I realized that I had to like work on myself to get better at that stuff. So, and I had people that are very good. I had guys that were very good designers already. So when you just added their design understanding to visual, it was attractive, it was beautiful. So basically, and the difference between the data scientists and the data analysts is that first of all, data analysts works with visual. They make actionable insight. Like they are using that data to make data-driven decisions. The purpose of them analyzing data, visualizing data is for the purpose of making insight. So after we analyze data, what can we use data to do? What can we use it to solve? For example, now I was giving an example of the FMCG guy that was analyzing sales data. So now he has analyzed that sales data, right? So he can know that okay, we can increase production in the festive period because we make more money, and then those months that we don't make a lot of money, let's reduce production, right? So we don't have drinks wasting in the warehouse and stuff like that. So that is the purpose of your making actionable insight. You're showing like you're basically telling stories with the data, stories that your manager does not have time to do. Imagine you give your manager take 10 Excel sheets. You cannot sit there and start looking and reading what's his business. But if you analyze it, you show those visuals, you come and say, oh wow, so from this sheet we notice that this is what we did, this is how much we are making. Look, this is the age gap. So people between 20 to 30 are more of the large consumers of our drinks, right? Because or from 15 upwards, like they consume our Coke, our Pepsi, our 7-Up. So you need to know all this stuff. So main purpose of that is for actionable insight. But for data scientists, that's when you move to the machine learning part. You start making predictive stuff.
Okay, based on the same data.
Yes, but now you're doing machine learning. You're automating processes. That's where AI comes in, because now you don't need to analyze every day. Now let me give you a very specific example. We were working on a project one time. My manager then and we were building a credit estimation model. So basically, what that model or machine learning model does is that someone can apply for a loan, and no, we don't have to manually read through his data. Okay, we already have specific parameters, like for example, what's the person's annual source of income? For example, if someone that is making 20k monthly, 20,000 monthly, cannot come and apply for a loan of 20 million.
Yes.
It will take so much time for him to pay, and you're putting the company at debt. So your annual income, that is a factor. Do you have any properties? So for example, now you're not able to pay, you can come and seize your properties till you pay, right? So we looked at all those stuff, right? So what happens is that when someone requests for a loan, his data will pass through that model, and that model would like check those parameters. So if the person meets up to, like, let's say we have 6 parameters, they meet up to 5 or 4 out of the 6, give him that loan. If the person doesn't meet up to 2, you'll not send automatic rejection. Sorry. So you don't even need a human being to So you just, and that's how it applies to apply for jobs too. You know, sometimes you put your resume, I've applied for a job and I applied job 1 minute, in 5 minutes I don't get rejection. Unfortunately, sorry, you can't. So stuff like that. So they are looking for specific data. So the things that model or that stuff did not get it needed some things and you don't have it there. So it should just shoot it back to you. So that's an example of what data science is. They build predictive models. It works in so many ways, like even pricing. For example, dynamic price, like boats. You know that when the traffic is high, you notice that when you open your boat app, the price will spike up. And then when the traffic is very low, you will see very, very low. So that's dynamic pricing. You don't need a human being to keep doing it. So it should just be there. If the price is, if traffic is very high, you know that you have to increase this because people have to make money, right?
Okay, so what you're trying to say is that before you actually graduate to the level of becoming the data scientist, you must start from being the data analyst.
You need to understand how data works. You need to know how to analyze it, because before you go build the model.
So the data scientist is the next step after being a data analyst.
I would say it's the next step, because people might
can you just move from
people
nowhere?
can jump to data scientist, but I would advise you to do that, because if you don't understand
how data works,
what's the point of building a model? Because models have accuracies. Like, you need to know the accuracy. And for example, I told you a story of a self-driving vehicle of the man that the car was coming with speed, and ideally the self-driving vehicle was supposed to detect human being and then stop, but it didn't detect, it just crushed him. You get, so in that case there are accuracy errors. It did not basically do it. Maybe it was less than 70%, because when we are building machine learning, we have accuracies. We tend to measure, is it 70%, is it 80%, is it 90%? From 90% upwards is a good accuracy. So we need to also look at that. So the accuracy of that model depends on the way you analyze your data, right? For example, now let's say someone that has 2,000 naira apply for 20 million loan, and they automatically he doesn't even get rejection, he gets the loan automatically. You'll be shocked, right?
Okay.
And you say, you go and check, person like the N2K apply for 20 million. That means you're putting the company in problem, because now they start pushing the person to pay back the money. You get, so that is also so I usually recommend understand how data works first. Know how to analyze it.
Basis.
Yes. And then you start moving to when you can start building predictive AI stuff. Because regardless of the fact that AI is solving problems, we are still having a lot of errors, like crazy errors. Even the point of facial recognition, this one that was very popular, that someone picked up his brother's iPhone, and
I saw the one a son did it. So that's iPhone. I think did anything
open. So those are errors, because ideally they are different people. So those things exist. So I would usually recommend that, although you can do it separately, right? Like for example, someone that already has a background in statistics from university, already understands like deep stats. You can easily jump into machine learning because machine learning is pure statistics. All those your differentiation, integration. You need all of them. You know if you run, you cannot run away from maths there. Like it's very, very important because you're working with data, and data is very, very fragile. It's very, very important. Like to the point that different competitors, let's say we have Coke, Pepsi, 7-Up, they don't want their data to leak to the other competitor because they see, if you see your man weakness, okay, this person they make more profits. This person is making less sales in February. That means maybe we pump our listen. So we'll get their customers. You get. So that's basically that.
All right. Yeah. Now after this break, we'll continue with this conversation. See you after the break. Welcome back. Today we're still discussing how to begin a career as a data analyst. Now, so do not forget to like, subscribe, and put on the notification bell on this channel because every week we drop amazing content. Now, my guest is still here and we'll continue the conversation. Welcome back. Mr. Valentine, I want to ask you 3 practical questions. Now, where do you find remote data analysis job? And what skill are particularly important to succeed in a remote position?
Okay, so I'll start with like sites you can find data analyst roles. So there's LinkedIn. LinkedIn is like a very popular
remote jobs, okay?
There's Indeed.
Okay, Indeed.
Yeah, Indeed. Right. There's Glassdoor jobs. There are a couple of websites, right? Okay. And another thing you need to notice is that data varies per organization. For example, financial data is quite different from blockchain, quite different from sales, quite different from logistics. So you need to have domain knowledge of that specific
of that field.
Yes, for example now.
So if for you to do health data, you must have domain knowledge of the health sector.
Yes, exactly. So imagine someone that did engineering going to be a health data. He might not know what is what specific blood level is someone diabetic or not diabetic. So you need to have domain knowledge
of a field.
Yes, so that's why data analysis is very broad, right? It is applied to so many careers. Like you can be a petroleum data analyst, sales data analyst, marketing data analyst. You can be a social media analyst. You can even be a sports analyst. So the thing is that the data itself is what differentiates the analytics. For example, now a sport analyst can be working with sport data. Healthcare analyst can be working with healthcare data. Petroleum analyst might be working with petroleum data. So data varies per this thing. So the first thing you need to know is that you need to know you need to have domain knowledge. You need to have a plan of what domain knowledge are you interested in. First of all, and then you can now use that to find out companies that need people in that domain, because they have different companies that can do blockchain, sales, marketing, FMCG, the case may be. So those platforms, you can see all those kind of jobs. But for a start, let's say someone that is starting off a career, getting a remote role might not be so easy. It might be a game of luck and grace, God's grace, very, very important. And oil with your head. But ideally, I would usually recommend people to start with freelancing, like do small gigs. Like, hey, I can analyze your data. Put yourself out there. Be an evangelist, right? Tell people I can analyze data. From there, you can start building. Because for remote companies, right, remote companies thrive a lot on communication. You need to be very good at communication. If you're not someone that knows how to communicate, you might have problems working in a remote setting, because everything is on the computer. You need to be virtual. So if you have a problem, you need to be able to communicate as quick as possible. If you need this specific information, you need to communicate as quick as possible. So for a start, I usually tell people to start freelancing, and there are some freelancing platforms like Upwork. You can use Upwork to find gigs, and it could be 1 month, 2 months. Start from there, right? As you keep building experience, because to be honest, companies these days are not hiring. Very few companies are not very few companies are hiring people that they can train right from the ground up, right? It's very rare now. So companies are looking for people that can only help them make money. Because what's the point of having a business? To make money is not for fun or anything. You need to make money. You need to
training school.
Yes, you need to get revenue. So you need to start from somewhere. It's a gradual road. There are some people that took a course and boom. Like I know a friend that she did one machine learning course one time, data analyst course, and boom, she discovered that one fintech company was hiring and it was remote.
She applied
and she started off an intern. And now she's in she's been working for like 3-4 years now, so she's like a senior machine learning engineer there now. So it's different. There are some people that you take 2 years, you start freelancing. Like for me, I started off taking courses for like, let's say like 7-8 months before I was able to even get my first gig. So you start from there, start from freelancing. From freelancing, you start moving up. As your freelancing, keep applying for jobs. You keep trying. Don't be say you just wait. Jobs don't come for you. Opportunities don't happen. You create them for yourself, and you create them by applying.
Okay, now you talked about 3 major skills you require to succeed in a remote position. You've talked about domain knowledge, you've talked about communication and freelancing.
Yes, technical skills too, very, very important. You need to know the tools.
Okay.
Because if you don't know the tools,
wasting your time.
Because imagine you hiring for a data analyst role, and because there are stages of interviews, right? Ideally, they have the intro stage with the company. And then maybe they have the technical interview, and then the other interview to discuss salary, and then the final stage, right? To check if your culture fit. Because for a remote company, you need to know if your culture fit. If you can blend with other members, because there's something called compatibility. You can be very good in your skill. You might be very good by yourself, but when you're working in a remote company, you don't know how to communicate. You don't know how to work with a team, and that can affect the output of the company.
Okay, now wait, how can an aspiring data analyst build a strong portfolio, for instance, now that can actually showcase their skills and also attract potential employers?
Okay, so ideally you start working on projects, right? Start building projects. We have data sites, we have sites that you can get data, governmental data sets. You can use Cargo. Cargo is the most popular one. Cargo, you can just search for data set. The first data set I worked with was a sales data set, which I visualized data of sales by region, sales by states. So you can start by getting data set practice, because practice that makes perfect. And then, fortunately, I wrote an article on HackerNoon about Excel data, because I noticed that data sets were not really available. So if you Google Excel data set, you can also see the article there as well. So just work on data sets. Build more projects, and then once you build those projects, you can start documenting them on portfolio sites. There are so many portfolio sites. There's Visit.io, there's Notion. You can use Notion to build a site. You can even use GitHub. You just go on YouTube, how can I build a portfolio site? And as you keep practicing, you can then be putting those projects, the visuals, for example, your data analyst, the visualization. What are the things you looked at? What was the conclusion of your visualization? Because it's not only to show something fine. You need to give them an outcome. What did you find out after analyzing data? So you do that, because it's a field that you need to have evidence, right? You need to show workings, right? For example, the very popular example I spoke about was when I was applying for a role. I would like to mention the company, right? But great company. First interview, I did the second interview, and then the third one was the first interview was an intro, just getting to know you. Second one was take-home assessment. Told me about the take-home, how I'm going to do it. I did that, and then the third one was the technical one, where I'll share my screen. The interviewer with the technical interviewer, that maybe someone that's working that arm already, and then maybe HR recruiter, and we're writing SQL. And as a matter of fact, I knew Power BI, I knew this, but I was not very strong SQL, and the company was SQL heavy. So during the interview, right, they asked the first question: write this down, write a query to do this. I didn't have domain knowledge of finance. I didn't know different how to get stocks and stuff. So I had to even fake my internet to get out of that interview, because it was horrible, man. Like, it was horrible. Like, you know how when you're finishing interview, they'll be like, hey, we'll get back to you, right? Or
You don't want
see you
that
soon.
rejection.
But me, they were like, okay, now later.
All right, now I'd like us to discuss AI,
Yeah,
the effect of AI. But before then, let's talk about the recent one, big data.
yeah.
Now, how has big data influenced career opportunities in data analysis? And what are those trends that upcoming data analysts should actually watch out for?
Yeah, so since like we're having a lot of big data, right? That's millions and millions of data, right? The people are now transitioning, moving into databases. That's where SQL comes in, right? That's why SQL is now on heavy demand.
Okay.
Because you're working with big data, and you can't host big data on an Excel sheet or a spreadsheet.
Yes,
you need to know how to query them to get the valuable information. Imagine you working on 1 billion data points, and you just want to know the number of people.
SQL will be the most high in demand.
Yes, SQL is very, very important. There are so many other databases. Like there's Snowflake, there's MongoDB. Like for example, I use Snowflake now, right? And it houses like millions and millions of our data points, right? I use it to get information. I just need to write specific query and stuff like that. So you need to know the tools that you can use for big data, right? And that's this SQL, MongoDB, and then now that we are having a lot of big data, that's when these AI tools come in, right? Because now we're having even Power BI now has AI integrated into it. So sometimes if you put the data, it will suggest visuals. So you don't need to think of, oh, should I do a bar chart or pie chart?
Okay.
It will really recommend,
recommended visual.
yeah, like something that will look good for what you're trying to do, right? Because for example, you're trying to visualize time, changes in time. You need to use basically a line chart. You could use a line chart. That's so you need to know what chart works with this type of data. There are different kinds of data, right? I say qualitative and quantitative. That's like some parts of it, right? So basically, the trends of big data will make you to learn more tools. We're now having cloud now, because now you don't need to have a whole room of server with big machines running data, because it's very expensive, it's time consuming, it's hot. Yes, everything's now stored on the cloud. So databases like GCP, Google Cloud Tools, this Snowflake, now you can host millions of data on the cloud, and you just, if you need information, query and get it. So now cloud is becoming very important. So even as data analysts, you need to know how to use cloud tools. Like the popular cloud tools for top 3 is AWS, Amazon Web Services, and then GCP, or rather Amazon Web Services, Azure, Microsoft Azure, and then GCP. And then we have Alibaba Cloud, we have other cloud platforms, but those are like the top 3: AWS, Azure, and GCP. So you need to know, and now different companies have different cloud tools they use. For example, you might be very familiar with GCP, and that company doesn't use GCP, they use AWS. So you need to, at least, I used to tell myself, at least familiarize yourself with the top 3. If you even know one, like for example, I know AWS more. Like I've been using AWS for a while. I've even tried to deploy stuff. I've even crashed server. I've even I've even built a company more money by doing some funny stuff. But you get, so if I'm applying now, I have more direction. If I'm looking for a role and they say familiarity with AWS, oh, you got me there. But if they go and put familiarity with Alibaba Cloud, I might not really go for it, right? Because I don't really have the strength. I'm not saying that you should not try. Have the mind, do it. But for me, I
want to specialize.
Yes, I want to specialize. I want to go for what I can easily succeed at. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Now let's look at the effect of AI on data analysis. Now, how has AI changed the career?
Yeah. So it's basically, right, AI came to like automate things, processes, make things super easy. Like basically
also make the learning process easy.
Yes, easy and fast. And now we have ChatGPT, right? But there are downsides. So I'll talk about advantage and disadvantage. So the advantage of these AI tools is that you can learn fast. You can easily debug. Back then, when you have an error when you're writing code in Python, you start going to forums, start checking if someone has had that same error. What was the solution? Right? There are popular platforms like Stack Overflow. So when I used to write code very well, I used to spend a lot of my time talking to people out there. Like it was like platform, chat with people. How far? Like, what do you do to solve this problem? So now with ChatGPT, for example, this large language model, you can just paste in that error and be like, can you suggest solutions for me? And it works. But it's not every time, right? It works. But also there are so many the disadvantages of that. So the advantage is that you can use these large language models to debug faster. You can AI is now integrated into some of these tools, your Power BI, even your Google Sheets. So many tools now using AI, right? Those are like good advantage. It makes things faster, easy for you. But disadvantage is that there are laws restricting company data. Like I said, data is very fragile, it's private, right? So as bad as, let's say, someone's meta information leaks out to the public, it's very bad. They can sue the company for billions of dollars, right? So they don't really, it's not advisable for you to carry company code and go and put inside ChatGPT, because ChatGPT learns from data every time. You can, there's what we call prompt engineering. You write prompts to make this AI give you the right result. For example, when I'm like, I also work in product support, I talk to users, right? And when I'm talking to users, right, I have written a prompt on my GPT to give me the right stuff. So I'll be like, generate this for me, and it makes my work easy. I can go through like 500 users a day without even stress, because I don't say put this person has this, you give me, I just post it, and when the person read, you like, wow, so professional. But it's not me. I'm not doing, like, it's not me that wrote that stuff, man. So AI is like making stuff easy, but the disadvantage is that you don't put company data into that. There are laws behind that. People are becoming lazy, right? A very popular story I heard was someone that went for an interview, and they'd be like, write a code to solve this, and the guy went to go and put inside ChatGPT and gave him the answer. So in the interview asked him, okay, how did you get this answer? I said, oh, I just put the story into ChatGPT and he gave me this answer. And the guy was like, and he was so serious. They were like, okay, how do you know if the code worked? So it's ChatGPT now.
It's correct. ChatGPT is correct.
Yes, exactly. So there are downsides of it. People are now lazy. People don't want to spend their time doing the hard work. They want to learn. They want to like use ChatGPT to this thing. So those are downsides. To make your life easy, but it could also make you lazy. So usually I recommend that if you write code or doing stuff, make sure you do the hard work, and then those the little stuff that like automating easy process, just use your ChatGPT to do it. So yeah.
All right. Yeah. Now, before we go, I'd like you to give us a final words, as we will continue the conversation again.
Okay. So yeah, data is a new oil, right? So
share to those who are aspiring to become data
analysts. And I would just say that another faster way to like grow into the space is by referrals. You have to build your network. Your network is your net worth. So for example, now if you know someone that is in the field, right, and let's say his company is hiring for that specific role, right, he can easily refer you, and they'll basically go for you because they have seen the person's results. Like they bow for the result, like they have seen his evidence, like they have seen his work, so they easily get you inside. So don't build in silence, don't build at home, don't build in quiet places. Go for seminars, join communities, connect with people, be your evangelist, tell people that this is what I can do, because closed mouths don't get
close destiny.
Yeah.
All right, on that note, we'll come to the end of today's exciting episode of how to begin a career as a data analyst. But please don't forget to like, subscribe, and put a notification bell on this channel, because we drop amazing content. And also, do not forget that the elite of the 21st century are not those who did not go to school or those who will not go to school, but they are those who have refused to evolve as their environment is evolving. My name is Providence. See you again.